Everyone involved in fiscal or monetary policy is talking about V-shaped recovery or K-shaped recovery or U-shaped recovery or some other alphabet-shaped recovery. What are these recoveries about? What recovery are these policymakers talking about? And what do these alphabetical shapes have to depict? Hi, Vinay Kumar here, International NLP and IAS coach. In this video, my dear friends, I am going to share with you what these different shaped recoveries mean and how they are going to how they are going to have their influence felt on the macroeconomic indicators. Now, having said this, my dear friends, first let us deal with the term recovery. Recovery here means an economy recovering from an economic downturn in general or recession in particular. Do you get that, my dear friends? Recovery as it is used is to do with the recovery of the economy from an economic downturn or a downslide. Is that okay? After a period of after a period of stagnation or degeneration of the economy, when it is bouncing back, you call it as, or when it is coming back to good health, you call that as recovery. Okay. Now, having said this, my dear friends, the shapes, the alphabetical shapes that we use actually depict how different economic measures that actually determine the macroeconomic health behave during the time of recession and recovery. Do you get that, my dear friends? What I'm only trying to tell you is as simple as this, my dear friends. There are these economic measures like GDP, employment, industrial output, and all these things which describe to us how an economy is at a whole doing. Perfect. Now, how all these economic measures put together, what is happening, or what is the chart, what is the shape they are taking in terms of the in terms of their depiction in a graph, the shape they are taking when there is economic downturn and the shape that they take once the economy starts to recover. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you? So basically, these alphabetical shapes are to do with the way in which we chart the performance of these measures as they describe the health of the economy. Is that okay, my dear friends? Clear? Now, having said this, one of the commonest type of recovery that we have been talking about in the recent times is the V-shaped recovery. In fact, the V-shaped recovery is the most desirable, ideal type of recovery from an economic downturn or a recession. In a V-shaped recovery, you're clearly seeing the slide of economy, a proper slide of economy, and then as the sharp V starts again, you are seeing quick rebounds, very fast rebounds of economy to its earlier to the conditions that existed before the downturn. Is that clear, my dear friends? So V-shaped recovery is always desirable because as and how the economy slides so fast or so efficiently, it would also rebound. That is a V-shaped recovery. Now, a host of proactive measures from the government and central bank of the country are essential to see that V-shaped recovery happens as early as possible. Is that okay, my dear friends? But then, not always. Maybe the proactive fiscal or monetary policy are the reasons behind this quick and ideal V-shaped recovery. The best example that I would like to share with you here is how US recovered after the Great Economic Depression in 1929, my dear friends. Even though it was not immediate recovery, what actually followed in the later years as the economy started to bounce back clearly showed a V-shape. In fact, those were the times, my dear friends, when the modern day policies like counter-cyclical fiscal policy or a expansionary monetary policy during recession was still not in vogue. So that was time when US followed contractionary fiscal and monetary policy even while there was a recession, because those times believed they were the correct policy responses to handle a recession. Except for the unemployment allowance that was paid by government to people, on most other fronts there was clear fiscal straitjacketing. So what happened? For some time the recession did continue, but then what happened? Because the liquidity conditions got strained for a long time, businesses started to restructure. And as businesses started to restructure and prices fell and wages fell and all that, my dear friends, there was a very sharp recovery. Okay? So, like I mentioned just a while ago, my dear friends, a proactive fiscal or monetary policy is essential to help the economy bounce back very quickly and very fast. Okay, a proactive fiscal or monetary policy would see that the economy is actually experiencing a downslide and do exactly what it takes for the economy to bounce back. But even sometimes when it is not seen, even sometimes when it's missing, there are possibilities of economy experiencing a V-shaped recovery. Is that okay, my dear friends? Superb. Now, another common type of recovery that we talk about is a W-shaped recovery. Now, W-shaped recovery has another name to it, double dip recession. See, what is happening? W, as you know, my dear friends, has two V's in it. So there has been recession and the economy has started to do well. It has started to recover. When consumer demand has just got to a whole new level. Business investor sentiments has reached a whole new level. For some XYZ reasons which were unforeseen, while fixing the economy will again have a downslide and another round of official recession. Double dip recession. Okay, and then it will slowly recover, now much more stably and much more at least for a time frame, it would stay in a positive growth territory. Is that okay, my dear friends? This is W-shaped recovery. So W-shaped recovery has almost two official recessions, two times proper economic downturns, my dear friends, before the economy gets restored to certain degree of stability. Is that clear, my dear friends? Thank you. Having having discussed about the W-shaped recovery, let's look into U-shaped recovery. What is U-shaped recovery? See, unlike a V-shaped recovery where we did not stay at the bottommost point of recession for a good time, but we quickly bounced back. See, there was downslide. We were slipping all the while, but then after touching the last point, the bottommost point, there was quick recovery in the V shape, which is not the case with the U shape. In the U shape, what is happening? See, the fall is sharp. Okay, it's not V. It is sharper than it was in the V. The fall is sharper, and the recession is going to stay longer before it's going to recover fully. Do you get that, my dear friends? Clear? So there is a sharper fall, then there is recession that sustains for a while before the actual recovery happens fully. Do you get that, my dear friends? This is U-shaped recovery. And even worse than a U-shape, see, as you know now very well by just what you have learned, any day a V-shaped recovery is better than a W-shaped recovery. Any day a V-shaped recovery is better than a U-shaped recovery where economy actually experiences recession for a sustained period of time. Correct? Now, what is even worse than a U-shaped recovery, my dear friends, which no economy should be cursed with, is a L-shaped recovery. In L-shaped recovery, as you see, just like in the economic downturn was steeper. It was not a V, it was not a slide, but it was a fall. And after this fall, we are not seeing any signs of recovery. At least in U-shaped recovery, you saw that slowly economy coming back to shape. But here, even that is not visible. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear friends? Now, this is a very, very serious, very, very challenging type of situation for any policy makers, both on fiscal and monetary policy front. Do you get that, my dear friends? See, in an L-shaped recovery, as you see this recession continuing for a very long period of time, an economy enters a situation called liquidity trap, where monetary policy almost becomes ineffective in restoring the economy back to a positive territory. Is that okay, my dear friends? The best example that I would like to give to you to describe an L-shaped recovery was what happened in the last decade of 20th century in Japan. In Japan, there was sharp decline in the performance of various economic measures in the early 1990s. And a host of fiscal and monetary policy measures that were taken were rendered ineffective, and there was no any significant improvement in the performance of the economy for almost one whole decade, my dear friends. The deflationary conditions continued persistently, and when this deflationary conditions continued persistently, we had all these conditions like liquidity trap coming in, and the economy as a whole suffered to such an extent that the last decade of 20th century came to be infamously called as lost decade for Japan. LOST. Is that okay, my dear friends? Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you? Now, this is what is an L-shaped recovery. Having said this, one of the shape that has been very often seen in the news recently is the K-shaped recovery. This is tricky, my dear friends. This is tricky because especially in the COVID pandemic times, we have been talking a lot about K-shaped recovery. What happens in K-shaped recovery is, see, economy did experience a downturn and it also started to do well, but only a branch of it. Another branch remained in recession or remained in difficult conditions, while the other branch of economy started to do exceptionally well. This is K-shaped recovery. I'll give you an example for you to clearly understand this. If you know, when COVID did strike India and so many other countries of the world, there were many industries that touched the rock bottom of their life, my dear friends, because there was no way in which these industries could perform in the COVID-like conditions. There was, literally no way. It was a clear case of exit for them. Okay, industries, I'm not just talking about a one-off enterprises. I'm talking about industry as a whole. One industry as a whole used to suffer because COVID presented extremely hostile conditions for them not to thrive but even to survive. Is that okay, my dear friends? Whereas there were so many other industries which started to do exceptionally well. In fact, the masks industry or the sanitizer industry or even the IT industry, which adapted itself to a work from home concept, quickly rebounded. As many of you know, my dear friends, automobile industry, even though it did suffer in the beginning, slowly when public transport was discouraged, more and more people started to buy cars and it started to do well. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you? This is a case of K-shaped recovery. In K-shaped recovery, my dear friends, some are doing well, some are not doing well. So recovery has happened, but not to the advantage of everyone. Do you get this, my dear friends? I hope you have clearly understood the concepts of V-shaped recovery, W, U, L, and K. If you feel, my dear friends, I have made these different shaped recoveries easy for you, you can please let me know in the comment box as made easy, because that's what I feel IAS Vinishers exactly stands for: making knowledge as organic, as organized as possible. And most importantly, by making knowledge as organic and organized, we make it easy. Is that okay, my dear friends? So this is a small token of encouragement that I will expect from you. If it has been made easy for you, just drop in the comment box made easy. Is that okay, my dear friends? Made easy is one of our catch lines. Okay, because that's what we exactly stand for in principle. Thank you very much, my dear friends, for learning from this video. See you all in my next video with great details of all these things. Thank you.